G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. In today's video, not only do we witness a casted game, but we also get to go over the patch notes. So let's introduce our players first. Our map is Himayama. This is the brand new patch for Age of Empires 4, and then we'll get into the patch notes. Spawning in the east of the map, in the color purple, playing as the House of Lancaster, it is Chrysaor. And in the west of the map, in the color blue, playing as the French, it's Give You Anxiety. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Himayama. A pleasure to have your company today. And let's talk a little bit about this patch. So, of course, for all those who were sleeping under a rock or a rug or wherever you might have been sleeping, there has been some balance issues. And the devs were aware of that, and they've immediately come in with a hot fix and actually fixed up both the House of Lancaster as well as the Knights Templar. So we're going to be diving into this video. Now, before we do that, if you are enjoying this Age of Empires 4 content, I encourage you, go down, hit that like button. It really helps out with the traction of the video. So let's get into it. We're going to follow around this scout, and we'll talk a little bit about the balance changes. So let's take a look and see what we've got. So first and foremost, a nerf to the Demi-Lancer. Now this is the veteran Demi-Lancer as well as the elite Demi-Lancer. So we're getting a decrease in health from 170 to 160, damage decrease including the charge, and then the elite Demi-Lancer's also getting quite a big nerf here from 240 to 200 and 18 to 14. So just first and foremost, with this change, this is going to be a massive nerf to fast castle, fast imperial strategies, because often you were relying on your Demi-Lancer. You were looking to try and utilize the power that you were getting out of all of those manners, and then just clicking that single button, and now all of a sudden you're not going to have that. On top of this, this really does nerf fast imperial quite a bit, because now you're not going to have a whole bunch of Demi-Lancers that you can get out of that Wingard. The Wingard Palace, and then as a result, it just means that you're not being as, or you're not having as effective as an army. The next changes that we got were to Billman. So Billman upgrade armor reduction effect decreased from 2-2 to 1-1. Another really solid change, and something that had been called out for quite some time now. Just the fact that it was absolutely insane. It allowed you to battle up against men-at-arms very effectively. So even right now, with it being a 1-1 reduction, that's still insane. It's still really, really good, and I suspect we're still going to see people look to complain about it, as we do have the School of Cavalry now coming up. But yeah, I suspect it will still be quite a strong upgrade. We'll ride on board with this scout here from GUA. Okay, so next up, the next change that we've got, let me take a look and see. We have got synchronized shot damage decreased from 678 to 567. So those are all of your tiers, so another good change. We've also got the civilization trait, Wool Industries, additional gather rate from sheep or decrease from 25% to 20%. So another good change, and apologies if maybe you're watching this on your phone. This probably looks like it is for ants, so you might have to zoom in, apologies. They've also changed manners, so mana income decreased from 70 and 45 to 60 and 45. This is a good change, and it still means the mana is going to be 100% viable because it's got largely that wood production, which is very nice. And then we see the open field system upgrade cost increase from 150 wood, 350 gold to 200 wood and 400 gold. This is a very tiny nerf. I think overall, if we look at these changes specifically to the mana, because these are key components of design, these do not hit that hard. Primarily because you can still get 9 manas in Feudal Age, and I think that's massive. And I think until they jump to that stage where, okay, we're going to limit how many manas you can have in each age, and basically what that means is that you would only have 3 in Feudal, 6 in Castle, 9 in Imperial, or if they did like 3 in Feudal with the option for another 3, and then you can get another 3 in Castle, something like that. But look, at the end of the day, it's the good thing is that there's small little levers that they can pull to decrease or increase the strength of a civilization, and they don't look to be hitting it too hard initially. And I think that's a good thing, right? We don't want to take things quickly and just ruin the civ immediately. And I also shout out the devs for dropping this patch so damn quickly as well, because this is a really, really nice timing on this. It's what, 24 hours, something like that, 48 hours probably. It's well timed though. First of the men is now going to be coming up 4 minutes and 20. Let's take a look at what else we've got in those patch notes. So on top of that, we've also got the Castle Lancaster. Muster the nobles cost increase from 150 food and 250 gold to 200 food and 300 gold. So if we take a look here at the Lancaster Castle, that is the first one. So it's a little bit more expensive to get these guys out now. And I think what this really does is basically just restricts how greedy you can play as the House of Lancaster. And it's a smart move, definitely a change in the right direction. Let's take a look at what else they've got. They've also got a change to the Wingard Palace. So the Earl's Retinue train time increased from 45 seconds to 50 seconds. Gunpowder contingent cost increased. And the Garrison Command train time increased from 25 to 30 seconds. So really good changes here. Once again, just reducing the overall power, the overall strength of this civilization and really knocking it down a peg. And that, it obviously needed it because many people had called it out and recognized. We've got the second mana now starting to come up for Chrysaor here. And let's take a look at the changes to the Knights Templar. Now, obviously, they're not in this game, but we still obviously will look at it. So first and foremost, we've got the Sergeant Health being increased, so a little bit of a buff here from 95 to 105. We've also got the Heavy Spearman cost being increased from 70 food, 30 gold to 80 food and 30 gold. So that's definitely a needed nerf. This unit is very strong. Pilgrims can no longer travel on stone walls, rest in peace, and Pilgrim ship speed reduced from 1.5 to 1.0. So that is pretty much our changes for today's patch. Let's get into the caster game. Of course, we'll also be talking about the patch and the changes and the direction that the game is going, but I think overall this is an incredibly good sign, right? I don't think there's anything worse than a new expansion dropping with new civilizations, and those civilizations are just completely busted. And the devs have addressed that immediately in this DLC. So shout out to the devs, hats off, everything in the right direction. I'm kind of glad they also buffed the Sergeant, because the way I felt about it was a little bit underwhelming, so hopefully it's a little bit more viable now. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to the Sergeant Heavy Spearman combo. Maybe, I think, to be fair, you could probably combo pretty much anything with the Heavy Spearman. It's an absolute beast. But this game, we won't be seeing any of them because we've only got the OG French in here. Give you anxiety, looking to try and clean up on the ladder at the moment. Of course, GUA known for his aggression and not going to be dropping the ball today. You can see just how much trouble he's taking. He's trying to get underneath this town center, able to take out the first villager of the game. Unfortunately, loses the knight because of it. That is incredible, just how much damage is coming through. And you can see how much the House of Lancaster punishes raiders. The amount of damage that you've taken on trying to hit this gold vein, it's just simply impossible to really focus it down. And the knight now going to fall back. He's probably going to be looking to pick up the upgrade here. So maybe we'll see the chivalry come through shortly. Second knight now looking to return, but unfortunately, the health, look at the health on these things. And keep in mind, this is just with 3 manas. We've got the upgrade coming through. He's going to be looking to pick up the additional 3 now as well. So huge amount of damage that's coming in early. Condensed land practices coming in. Now, interestingly, I don't think this one actually got, I don't think this got nerfed. If we take a look and see, so condensed land practices, yeah, it was only the open field system that got nerfed, which was the second tier. So basically that means that you can get up to 6 manas and still pretty much have no difference in the way that you're playing. The other thing to note is that the food is a little bit slower now. So once again, these are all changes in the right direction. I'm not complaining. I'm saying like these are good changes. But look at how, like, I think right now you are seeing Chrysaor. Oh my god, the defense is crazy, dude. This is the ultimate turtle civilization. When you witness this, and when you see this, and the fact that you can't really get into these defenses, like the fact that your eco buildings are basically, not basically, that your eco buildings are your defenses. This civilization is breaking that triangle that we're so familiar with, which is to boom, so to build up your economy, we'll lose to a rush. So right now, what is he doing? He's building up his economy. And what's GUA doing? GUA's rushing. So that's the first thing. And then a rush is going to lose to a turtle. And what's he doing at the moment? He's turtling. He's got a lot of buildings that attack units. And then a turtle will lose to a boom, which is where you focus purely on your economy. The trouble is, this is kind of breaking the triangle because you're able to do both of these things at the same time. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they actually remove this whole arrow slit thing. I'm calling it now. I think they're going to rework it. I think they're going to rework Lancaster Castle. I don't think they're going to make it so that you get the arrow slit in placement. I mean, when you look at this, right? He's literally just defending with manors and villages. It's kind of impressive. He's only lost the 1 villager so far, and that was because GUA really looked to try and dive the town center. And Chrysaor is just having a field day out here, an open field day, you could say. I mean, the trouble is, so now he's got the healing upgrade, so he's going to have to bring all these knights back here. He's got them just sitting here, healing, waiting up, and he's just rallying them in one by one into the base. But look at all the damage that they're taking here, and he doesn't even really mind. I think the biggest factor, like, the other thing to note is he could just throw a wall up around the outside, and there's the Demi-Lancers now arriving. He was a little bit late with the Demi-Lancers, or rather a little bit early with the Demi-Lancers. Now they're out to help defend. This man has not made a single production building, and now he's on the offense. All of the knights is trying to heal them up. Unfortunately, the scout's going to go down here, and the Demi-Lancers are running for dear life. But now the Rax is going to come up here. He's decided, you know what? I think 6 is probably enough. We want to avoid, and I think this is such a smart move as well. Obviously, your enemy's playing aggressive. You're seeing a lot of units that are coming out. You could go for another set of manners right now, but you would really be pushing to the limits. Whereas here, this is a much safer option, right? The fact that you're just going, okay, well, we'll just do 6 manners, and then we'll do it. Look, you know, like all of these manners well placed, able to defend. You can see they're looking to try and focus down this one knight on the edge of the map, or on the edge of the army. And now the Demi-Lancers on the other side of the map coming across here. This does get scouted out by GUA. He's got quite a bit of line of sight out here. And the Demi-Lancers now going to get caught out of position with the Knights on the return. No Vills getting taken out, but obviously quite a bit of idle time. I take it back. Hold your horses. There's one Vill that goes down. He's found a whole bunch on the wood line. He could look to try and cause some havoc, but he's already caused enough pandemonium in the base. More units now coming back, and keep in mind, GUA healing up all these Knights over time. Demi-Lancer's going to get chased out. And I think this is honestly a perfect spot right now for Chrysaor. Just go castle. Like, just get so basically just make spears and go castle. Your economy's already this good. But this is where I think, like, when you're playing as the Lancaster, like, going in for a market just makes so much sense. You drop a market down and you just sell the food. And I know that it's always tough, like, using the market. For me, personally, I don't actually use the market a lot. There will be games where I'll be playing till, like, 35, 40 minutes, and I haven't built a market. Because whenever I have a macro, I just say, okay, well, I'm going to solve that by reallocating villages. But the reality is, when you're playing the House of Lancaster, honestly, in the early game, there are going to be situations where you can't control what food you're able to gather just simply because your enemy's being aggressive. So going for that market makes a lot of sense. On top of that, you're going to have resources trickling in that you don't necessarily want at a specific time, so it enables you to take advantage of that. And of course, there's always the argument that, okay, well, you've got 1,000 wood stacked up there, you can just drop down a whole bunch of production. Yeah, of course. Or you could sell that wood and do something more interesting, like go Imperial Age. But I do suspect Imperial Age is probably going to be a little bit slower here. There's the Age Up King's College coming through for Chrysaor now. Now, keep in mind, links in the description for both of these guys. They will be streaming their content live over on Twitch at the moment, though I'm not sure if Chrysaor streams. I'll have to double check and make sure that he does. And if he does, I'll leave a link in the description where you'll be able to watch him. But so far, the defense is very good. This is, I tell you what, if you like turtling, this civilization is for you. This is just, I mean, we have just witnessed the incredible right here. The defense that's come through from Chrysaor, the ultimate turtle civilization. It is a thing of beauty that we are witnessing. Vill's now going to go down on those berries. Keep in mind, you can't garrison in the Lancaster Castle. I'm kind of curious, what do you think about balance? Because obviously it's going to take some time for us to work out everything. Vill's jumping inside that town center. It's going to take time for us to work out, you know, all the intricacies of civilizations. But, you know, obviously House of Lancaster got found out pretty quickly that it was absolutely bonkers. Do you think that a change in design is on the cards here for Lancaster Castle? Because, I don't know, there's a huge component of the civilization which I think is fundamental, and that's obviously around manners, but I don't necessarily think the going for Lancaster Castle and getting the arrow slits on your manners is a, how do I say this kindly? It's a good thing for balance. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it's a good thing for balance. A couple of units here getting picked off. He did have spears down towards the south, but they appear to be baited away. GUA now going to focus down this manor here. Keep in mind, GUA still in the feudal age at the moment. Castle age has come through for Chrysaor. He's looking to pick up the Collar of Esses here, one of the unique upgrades available at the King's College. And now these units starting to make their way out. Plenty of spears down here. Also starting to see some knights on the field now for the House of Lancaster. He's going to chase away the enemy. Keep in mind, these are Castle Age Knights. They're going to have quite a bit more damage, quite a bit more armor, health than the feudal counterparts. Let's check in with GUA, though. See what the plan is for him. A couple of farms coming down underneath the town center. A little bit of harassment over towards that south position. He's got Vills down here on the deer. Cleaning it up with the Knights. So far, so good for GUA. Though you can't help but feel like maybe he didn't get enough damage in. One of the things when you're playing the French that you want to try and do is you want to cause harm to the enemy economy. And it really feels like he hasn't been able to do that in this game. Knights now surrounding all of the spears. Able to clean this up. A very effective trade. He's super happy to be taking this. A little bit of a mistake, honestly, from Chrysaor to be out here with these spears. Just, you know, absolutely ready to be taken out by the Frenchman. Well, not the Frenchman, but the French player. Let's just go with it. Let's go with that one. Knights on knights, a little bit of knight on knight action. We're right on board with Chris or as he begins to prepare for the defense. Veterancy coming through on the spears. These spearmen are going to be a little bit more potent now. Don't be surprised if GUA falls back away from this situation. Indeed he does. The right call. And a nice combo starting to come out from Chris The knights together with the spears. Does he look to go into any of those unique units potentially? Maybe we see some yeomen coming out. Meanwhile, towards the north, more knights now going to be coming through. Spearmen looking to reinforce this position. He continues to focus down this one mana right here. He doesn't like this mana in particular. Relic's going to get picked up. You can see he spots out the relic. A little bit of a, I don't know what's happening out here. Bit of a weird thing. He sees it, but unfortunately, it's going to be going down. The monk coming to the wrong neighborhood today. And now GUA in a solid position as he looks to surround his opponent. Plenty of units out here. He's also looking to pick up all of the deer as well. He's obviously picked up survival techniques. A lot of eco upgrades have come through. We'll switch it over to income per minute so you get a bit of an idea on where these two currently stand with regard to their economies. And now knights on the gold. Knights on the gold. Why is he out here on this gold anyway? Is there, I mean, there's probably a more reasonable gold that you can take. I guess it's probably a reasonable gold to take, isn't it? Just no outpost always hurts. But speaking of reasonable, meanwhile, towards the top side of the map, we have the Royal Institute now coming up. We're looking, both of these players reducing the cost of their technologies with their landmarks. And knights, once again, I feel like Chris has taken some really bad trades, but at the same time, you know, hats off to GUA. He's taken some very good trades in these games. But now, more and more Lancer on Lancer action. GUA in a good spot. Charges come through, immediately turns around. He's looking to try and swoop on these units. He will find them. He's just got consistently effective trades in this game. He needs to be cautious about these additional spears that are coming through. Meanwhile, towards the north, his control is very good. It's looking good from a lot of angles now, GUA. Tell you what, this is shaping up to be a good game. I think the biggest problem for me is, even though GUA is taking really good engagements, really favorable trades in all of these, during the entirety of this game, the only trouble is he hasn't done that eco damage. So you can see, once again, he's keeping these units alive with just such low health. They're going to be able to heal up. But the trouble that he's going to have is that he hasn't done that lasting eco damage. He's only taken out 2 villagers so far in this game. He's lost 2 himself. Chris has been wonderful on the defense, and even though he's had unfavorable trades, the fact that he's got that villager advantage, or not that villager advantage, but that economic advantage, really makes it difficult for GUA to hit his power spike. Back towards the south of the map. Still cleaning up units. He really, it almost feels like he's just kind of throwing these units away. If we take a look at the destroyed value, GUA up about 1,500. I tell you what, it feels like a lot more than that. I feel like GUA has killed way more units than what his opponent has this game, but I don't know. Maybe I've just got my rose-tinted GUA glasses on. Both players now in the castle age. More eco upgrades starting to come through. We also see royal bloodlines on the way now for GUA. He's been constant. I tell you what, I would have folded by now. There's no way. I mean, you could really see the talent from this guy. The fact that he's able to control these armies at the same time across the map, avoid losing a fair amount of units. He's doing a wonderful job on the defense. I don't want to glaze him up too hard. Obviously, you guys know me and GUA, we go way back. Let's check in on Chris Oyo, see how the economy's going. Nice little set of walls at the back here. Also going to look to drop down some farms. Bit of an interesting position. I would have gone for something like this and then looked to try and wall in over here, but you can see he's having quite a bit of trouble. This is a little bit extended, but I suspect he's probably going to be trying to get some walls up shortly. He's already got those ones to the back. And the spears together with the knights. I'd love to see some crossbows come through for him right now. Crossbows would be really nice. It also gives you that little bit of leverage in the sense that you can go into the yeoman as well if you've got the archery rangers already up, but he's going to have to fall back away from this. Once again, GUA with the royal bloodlines yet to come in, about to come in. 1 second to go. There it is now arriving. 310 health from 230 up to 310. It is quite a lot of health on these guys. But of course, GUA going to fall back once again. He's only making knights. I say that right as he makes his first horseman. He's got a horseman in queue somewhere over here. Probably an accidental horseman. I don't know why he'd make a horseman. Somebody message GUA and say, "Sir, you've made the wrong unit." Cantled Zaddle's now going to be coming through as well for GUA. Relics getting picked up behind the scenes. We hear them, but we don't see them. It'd be cool if it showed on the map like the relic was moving on, or like there was an indication on where those monks with the relics are, but only for the casters, not for the players, because that wouldn't be fun. More raids coming through. GUA losing out quite a bit of vills here. We see he's lost 9 now in this game. Chrysaor taking the villager, almost taking the villager lead, rather. He's at 59 versus 57. One thing to note is he's obviously got a whole bunch of manners that are working overtime for him. Has he picked up the upgrade? It does look like he has, so he's probably got some additional manners somewhere back here. There's one. I only see the 7 of them. Let's double check and see. Yeah, he's only got 7 out of 9 at the moment. Morvilles getting caught on that south side, but fortunately, Knights are here to defend. GUA up towards the top side. We're right on board with him as he looks to try and find enemy villagers. He's going to come through the back. Good news is, most of them are defended. Will he spot out these farms? You can see he's definitely rounding the corner here. All of these units healing up, but more Knights now looking to try and cause some damage. These vills are still down here, still present. And now, into the back line, you can see that GUA is definitely going to be giving this position away. He knows, or at least his opponent knows, hey, we're back here. Spears get found out. More spears going to be rallied in. And you can see he one-shots the first line of spears. Second line, not so much. There's a few more of them. And as a result, it's going to mean that the defense is definitely on. GUA once again coming up empty-handed. So on one hand, there's a part of me that wants to say, you know, okay, House of Lancaster, they're crazy good at defending. And then there's a part of me that says, well, actually, Chrysaor has just done a wonderful job at defending this game. I need to give credit where credit is due. GUA now looming, trying to find a way through. Still no ranged units out for either of these guys. Just really sticking with the melee units. Not a lot of walls out. I tell you what, one of the things I would love to change from Chrysaor is just slowly adding in more walls. And you don't have to go for a big wall, right? Like you just got to put in little walls, wall by wall. He's actually chasing down all of these low health Knights. Not able to find the connection though. In the end, more units reinforcing it every single time GUA thinks he's got an upper hand. Chrysaor comes in with just a couple more units. It really feels like he's almost playing with him in that regard. The way that the units aren't always all there. A little bit of a standoff towards this northern sacred site. All the relics picked up now. 2 relics on the side of GUA. 3 on the side of Chrysaor. No Imperial Age in sight just yet. GUA, I think he cancelled the Horseman. Either that or it died, one of the two. But he's back to full. He's back to full Knights only. We could potentially see something a little bit of difference out of him. No, it's not going to be the case. It's still more stables. He reckons he can get away with playing only Knights only. And look, to be honest, I think this would work against almost everybody else on the ladder that's not like a top 50 player, because keep in mind, Chrysaor is a very good player. So I suspect this probably works against almost everybody else just because of the mobility that he's got, right? He can just afford to get away with this. I mean, how do you play with this if you're, you know, if you come up against GUA, even as a Conqueror 3 player, this is going to be very difficult to deal with, the amount of Knights that he's got here. But we do start to see Chrysaor building now. He's got his military out a little bit too far. GUA numbers are looking all of a sudden very scary. He's up to 23 Royal Knights. And now looking to focus down the rest of the military here. Chrysaor going to be running away with his tail down between his legs. And now the numbers are starting to build. I'd really love to see archery rangers coming through for Chrysaor. Some additional crossbows, but now those spears looking to make a connection. GUA not paying attention at all. Now he's going to commit, decides he's not going to commit halfway through, but loses a lot of units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least, maybe even a sixth unit right there. Tell you what, GUA in a little bit of trouble here, as the spearman number is really starting to build. Maybe he could switch into archer. GUA, maybe make an archery range. Okay, there we go. GUA got the message. 1, 2, 3. So probably realizing that there might be a little too many spears here for him to deal with, and subsequently goes into archers. But, you know, mad respect for recognizing that, and also mad respect for the base building. Is going to be putting a keep down here in the middle, so building everything around here, preparing for that inevitable keep that he is going to be putting down. Second TC finally added in for GUA, the American. He's playing as the French, so it's very tempting to call him the Frenchman, but it is not the case. Now more units continuing to rally out across the map here for Chrysaor. Really starting to build up on that spear number, up to 26 spears now. 5 archers in the queue. GUA on the retreat for the moment. Feels like he doesn't have a whole lot of time. Chrysaor is beginning to move more and more across this map. Knights up to the north. You can see he's really rallying in all locations right now. Knights across the backside. He finds these vills on gold. Vills on gold going to be sprinting away. And now Chrysaor behind the scenes is giving GUA a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. More Knights rallying, looking towards the entirety of this map, and Knights now going to find them out. He says, how you doing? Don't mind me. I need that gold, though. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to have to get you to vacate this area. And now GUA losing more vills. He's lost 13 throughout this game. Chrysaor in the base on the capital town center. All sacred sites now going to be taken as well. Both of them purple, both belonging to the House of Lancaster. Spear number looking a little bit better. They've all got that Billman upgrade. Attacks reduce enemy armor by -1. I tell you what, it is nice to see that nerf coming through. So I think that's probably going to be the final hotfix for Lancaster for a while. So because of that, I was kind of holding off on casting a lot of games, just purely because I kind of knew the civilization was going to get hotfixed, and I don't want to cast games unless we've actually got the correct patch on. Otherwise, you know, I don't want to be giving you games that are like 12 days old. Because, you know, the balance is going to be completely out of whack. So I think that's an important component now. So I suspect they're probably not going to be doing any more hotfixes for the moment. But I'm curious to see how the balance falls, because House of Lancaster obviously still quite a strong civilization. GUA chased once again. Where are your archers? GUA, that's way too many spears. GUA, the knight in shining armor is, well, his armor's not as shining as it was before. Now being chased away on this front as well. Archer's going to be rallied out. They've got their veterancy through. No +2 just yet. No +1 even coming through for him at this stage. Knights, bad spot. Chrysaor absolutely taking a beautiful fight in this game right now. Look, he might not win the fight, but it's a wonderful trade here. These spearmen are a lot less costly than the Royal Knights, and you can see GUA, despite winning the fight, is just getting eaten alive here. More Knights now inside the town center, looking to try and take out those villagers. Going to be able to find success. GUA cleaning up towards this top side, but that count, that military count, that's the main thing that I'm concerned about. This was a very favorable trade here for GUA. But now, more and more Knights looking to rally towards the front. You can see Chrysaor really starting to pump here. He's got even more production on the backside. Stable going to get thrown down. Still no archery range just yet. No need for crossbows. That's what he says. He reckons he can do it just going with the good old faithful combo of Knight Spearman. Now continuing to move in towards this position. Spears on the backside. Billman with all their +2 upgrades as well. So he's going to be reducing the armor on these enemy Knights. But I tell you what, GUA's position starting to look a little bit better. This is what you've got to be very careful of. If you're rallying in all of these troops and the opponent's got critical mass, then this is a fight that can be very dangerous to take for them. Spearman now getting one shot by these archer numbers. And GUA, you can't help but feel like maybe you should have added these archers in a little bit sooner. The fights are starting to look more favorable for him on the defense. Down towards the south side, we hear villagers under attack by villagers. A little bit of vill-on-vill action. Plenty of vills down here. GUA could look to try and get a raid down. Look at all of the vills down here. This is incredible. And GUA sees this. If you look from GUA's perspective, he sees all these vills down here. So don't be surprised if you get a raiding party of 20 knights heading down that way. But at the same time, you've got to be careful of your vills on the north side if your opponent looks to do the same thing. Plenty of production now through for GUA. A lot of resources in the bank as well. Outpost comes up on the front line. Second TC's obviously been pumping for quite some time, but the vill difference between these two is minimal. Now, the second town center has just recently come up for Chrysaor. We can see he's still got the sheep that are under the town center, which means he's only gotten this one up very, very recently. But he's going to be working towards that max vill count. Ideally, we want to be hitting 130, 140-ish as soon as we possibly can, within reason, without dying. And now more knights heading on the way back. And keep in mind, on top of that, he's also got all of these manners, which are going to be printing out resources for him. So effective vill count is a lot higher. If we take a look at the generation of resources between these two, you see about 3,000 for GUA compared to his opponent, who's sitting on, oh my lord, that's so much. I'm not even going to count it. I can look at the numbers. I can do basic math and just see that is that's a lot of resources that man is printing right now. Keep in mind that even once he goes Imperial, he's going to have access to Scootage for even more resources generated from these damn these damn buildings. I tell you what. Maybe there's going to be another hotfix. There's a part of me that thinks there could potentially be. But we'll have to wait and see what the play is. Nonetheless, I think I'm in the clear now to start casting a couple more games now that the hotfix has landed. But Knights on the backside, Chrysaor looking to try and take advantage of GUA. GUA a little bit out of position with the Knights. I don't know where all of them are. They've probably gone off for a little bit of a raid down to the south. And now the final push potentially from Chrysaor. This definitely looks final in the way that it's working here. GUA could be in trouble. 40 versus 59 on the defense. GUA is holding on. Needs these spears to be connecting with the archers. You can see the numbers continuing to pull up for GUA here. Knights managing to make a connection with these archers, continuing to run down towards the south side. There's going to be more reinforcements. Oh my lord, there's so many reinforcements coming through from Chris Ayor. And this could be it right here, right now. GUA holding on for dear life. His knights have got a lot of health, but I tell you what, Chris Ayor's got a lot of knights. Which way do you take it? More reinforcements coming through for GUA, holding on as hard and as fast as he can, and it looks like he's going to do it. GUA, the madman, defending once again, managing to hold on against that House of Lancaster. The economies, the difference between them at this stage is really quite significant, and because of that, you're going to have a lot more reinforcements coming through from Chris Ayor. You can see the amount of units that he's got here is incredible. So GUA now on the defense, looking to resume, getting on the attack. He doesn't have a whole lot of units behind enemy lines. We can see right now he's starting to wall up as well, feeling a little bit out of place on that south side. And now maybe overstepping the mark a little bit as Chris Ayor with the reinforcements comes through. House of Lancaster looking good, and we see another horseman. Our first horseman for the game. We saw one earlier in the queue, but this is the first one we actually see with our eyes visibly. We sight it. We spot it out on the ground. I tell you what, the amount of units that you've got here on the defense, or on the offense, you're kind of chasing the bigger army away here, but GUA's got to look to try and commit. Where's those reinforcements? They're coming in from the south. And GUA should be fine here once again. Seems like an okay trade to take, but you can see that military number. Look at the military number right here. 35 on the side of Chris Ayor, 25 on the side of GUA. A lot of that going to be spears. And Chris Ayor just kind of feels like he's spamming units right now. We'll ride on board with him and see how he's doing. So keep coming up to the south. Farms coming down as well. He's got really strong map control. And I think the real power that he's demonstrating here is just the economic power. Like, he doesn't care that much about whether or not he's taking bad trades. Like, if you look in this game, GUA's killed 10,000 resources worth of units more than his opponent. 39k against 29k. That's a ridiculous difference when you compare these two. Just how much. But I guess one other thing to note is look at the vill difference as well. Chris Ayor's taken out a lot of villages, though. So I guess that's another factor that we should consider. Behind the scenes, though, everything is going well for the English variant. A happy little Vegemite, that is for sure. He's on the aggressive. The spearman combo. We start to see a couple of Earl's Guards out, undoubtedly coming through from the keep that was put down towards that south side. They're going to be making their way up towards the wall, potentially. There they are already, looking to unite with the army. They've got the attack move command given to them. And now more and more units come through. I think GUA should be fine on this one as well. As long as he's able to focus down these spears, you can see him looking to try and take them out one by one. It can be tough, though, with the amount of units that his opponent has got. Chris Ayor really just looking to push it to the limit here. And I tell you what, we've got ourselves a pretty damn good game here. GUA holding his head above water, but how much longer is it going to be? It feels like it could be over right now. Look at the military difference. Chris Ayor really starting to pump it in this last little fight. I tell you what, he just managed to hit it perfectly, the mark, in this game. And now, Chris Ayor reinforcing. There's the Earl's Guards coming through. We'll be watching out for their dagger throw. There it is, onto the back line. And now grouping in. If he loses this mass of archers, he's not going to be able to deal with any of the subsequent spearmen. So you can see just how many units are coming through right now. Chris Ayor could be looking for an Imperial. It's not going to even matter. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. The House of Lancaster with their absolutely insane economy still quite strong, as we can see. Anyways, make sure you go check out these two creators. I'll leave a link in the description if you can catch GUA or Chris Ayor live over on Twitch. They'll be over there. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching this action-packed game.